dear friends and colleagues. Uh, First of all, I hope that you are staying at home and that you are staying and keeping safe. I know that this COVID 19 crisis has impacted you all. It has impacted me as well. And the first thing and your first priority must be to stay healthy, to be safe, to keep your loved ones safe as well. Number two should be to maintain your sanity. But then, I'm very close to that. Number three is gotta be to think ahead, think of your future, and to protect your source of income. For that, you must always think about how you must, because you must, keep your clients. You have to protect your direct clients so that they can continue to work with you both during and after this COVID 19 crisis. So, how do you do that? Well, if you are like me, and I'm sure that most of you can identify with what I'm going to say, for the last 2 weeks we've been bombarded by email with all these different workshops, seminars, classes taught online. It seems to me that right now everybody and their brother has decided to make a living by teaching online. And here we have a big confusion because you have the people that have always done it and are reputable, the people that have always done it and are not, together with some people that are great as in-person instructors and that will no doubt be good online. But also there's some other people that we've never heard of and now they just threw their hat into the ring and they are claiming to be instructors, teachers, professors, and so on. The second thing that you're getting in your email box all the time is all these advertisements from different agencies trying to recruit you to interpret for very, very low fees remotely, or from all these some known and some unknown remote simultaneous interpreting platforms or video remote interpreting platforms claiming to be the solution to all your problems, scaring you, telling you that this is the new trend, that nothing will be back to the way it was, and therefore you must buy their services. You must acquire their software and their platforms, and you have to work with them unless you want to go totally and 100% out of business. Well, my friends and colleagues, these same people that are bombarding you with emails are constantly, no doubt, bombarding also their targets, which are your direct clients. You should never allow that to happen. You have to protect your direct clients because you've spent years and years building up those clienteles that you have to continue to keep. That's your living. But how are you going to do this? Well, the first thing I gotta tell you is that now you have a lot of time because you are at home. So take advantage of that time and get in touch with your regular, most valuable clients. Make a list and start with the most important clients that you, no matter what, want to keep, and then go down the list. Try to contact them by email or by phone or by any other means that you usually use with them. Some of them like texting. I have some of them that do. So try to do that, understanding that right now you are not their priority. So when you talk with them, be very, very conscious of this. Empathize with them. Remember, they are also losing a lot of money, not just like you, but also in many other ways, especially if your client happens to be a big company that is diversifying constantly, and right now all their different avenues have been closed by coronavirus. You have to tell your clients, look, I know that right now getting together in person is totally out of the question, so you cannot have your board meetings, you cannot have your C-suite conferences, much less a major scale event like a Congress. However, I want you to know that for the day-to-day operations or for those crucial big meetings in your C-suite that must happen right now no matter what, guess what? I offer you an option. I have your solution. And explain to them what you can do by interpreting remotely. But explain to them in a very realistic way, making sure that they understand this is a temporary, provisional thing that you will be doing until things get better and you can go back to business as it was before. Please make sure that you explain to them all this so that they have the right expectations and not very high expectations, because then you would probably let them down because of technology and because of the infrastructure that you have, and perhaps because of the high traffic that the broadband is having right now all over the world, with so many people using the internet and working from home. Now, you can also tell them that certain things and explain to them which ones can continue to be used online if after a while they decide that they can live with the glitches and the time delays and with the inconveniences that this present compared to interpreting live. And also explain to them that there are certain events that should be done live, like the big conferences where everybody has to get together anyway, and that it would be better if you add to that the 3, 4, 5 different interpreting booths that you will need depending on the languages involved. On the other hand, though, tell your client that if they were to decide to give a try to remote simultaneous interpreting for a big event, that you are the solution to their problems. Explain to them that they will get all these emails and phone calls from these agencies soliciting their business, but that these people don't know how they work. They will probably not offer the same quality, and they will be working with interpreters that are going to make much less money, and therefore their quality might not be as good. Or maybe they live in a part of the world where they will not be familiar with the culture and with the nature of the business of what you're doing, and that you have worked with them for so many years. Explain to them all these things so that you are kind of vaccinating your clients against these people that are selling them all these different dreams. Explain to them that they are not different than a used car salesman that might sell you a lemon telling you that it's a wonderful vehicle. Do this, it is very important. Now, you may ask me, well, but how can I do that if right now I don't have the infrastructure? You can easily convince your client, and your client will not be thinking about having a major, humongous event like their annual congress or anything like that during COVID-19. So don't worry about that. With what you have, you can do what they are wanting to do right now. But even in the future, or even if there is an imperative necessity to do something big right now, tell them that you will work with them. Because, friends, remember, we must make a distinction between a platform provider and an interpreting agency. Platform providers are a tool, are a partner that we can work with, and I think that that's a great partner to have. And although there are certain things that remote simultaneous interpreting is not good for, there are certain things that you can work with them for, and that will be a useful partnership. That's very different from working with interpreting agencies. Let me tell you why. When you retain the platform, guess what? There's a client relationship directly between you and the platform. You are their client. The client is always right, which means you call the shots. You are in charge. You are the boss. You are the one talking to your direct client. You are the one requesting materials. You're the one giving your input to those organizing and planning the event. On the other hand, if you're working through an agency, you are not the client. The agency is the client of that platform, or in some cases, as you already know, they are even commingled, that even though they might have a different corporate name, the business is the same, one and the same platform and agency. In those cases, you will not be able to talk to the client directly, and in some cases, they will probably put you through some really dumb training, even though you might have worked for them in the past, because their liability requires them to do so. This is training you will not get paid for. So make sure that you understand this difference, and that you promise to your client, to your direct client, what they need. And if you need a big major scale event, you can work with the platforms. There are platforms that are very reliable. There are platforms that you can work with, and that will always beat working to or through an agency. That would be the last resort, something I would not do. Work with the platform, please. Also, the other thing that you need to make sure that you keep in mind is that you have to always keep an eye on what's going on right now. It's very important for your sanity, for the future of your business, and for keeping your clients, that you maintain also that network of great interpreters that you trust, because you've been working with them for a long time, so that you together tackle the problem at this point with that direct client, because there might be a need for other languages that are not the language that you work with. Always do this way. Organize virtual get-togethers with your trusted colleagues, with interpreters that you work with, those guys that you want to have in the booth next to you, whether it's a physical or a virtual booth. That's where you can address your problems and develop strategies. You have to do this instead of being a part of those get-togethers organized by agencies or by platforms, where they are really trying to sell you a product and trying to convince you that this is the only way to go, that remote simultaneous interpreting is the absolute solution to all problems. No. Talk to your friends, to your colleagues. Have these get-togethers where interpreters can express themselves freely and you can develop a strategy. Then, once that you have resolved how you're going to tackle a problem, if needed, talk to a platform and retain the platform services and use that platform. But don't go through the agency, because you may lose your client. Do not give them your clients. And again, very important, talk to your clients as soon as possible. Like I said, you have to warn them of these phone calls and these emails, because you got to explain to them that if they are contacted and somebody tells them, we reached the point of no return, the future is on the absolute solution to all your problems, and that is remote simultaneous interpreting, it would be the equivalent of the restaurant business calling their clients and telling them, guess what? Because of coronavirus, that we have noticed and we have decided that even after the crisis is over, home delivery is going to be the solution and we're going to close all of our restaurants. That's not going to happen, because humans still need to interact one-on-one, physically, face-to-face. The same thing applies for meetings, for conferences, for congresses. So don't let them fool your clients. Don't let them sell them these sophisms. So please talk to your clients and warn them so that they know what to expect. And also make sure that they know that you are there for them all the time, so that they work with you. And if they have any doubts, instead of returning the call or the email from this provider, they first contact you. That's the way to keep your direct clients on these times of crisis during COVID-19. At least that is my opinion. Thank you very much.